afternoon. We're seeing across the country and in this state a rising tide of people who want to change the system. We saw that in Massachusetts last night with Ayanna Presley's victory, and we're seeing that here in Rhode Island. People called that victory last night a major upset, and we are on track for a major upset right here in Rhode Island on Wednesday, September 12th. I have a lot of hope that things can change. I hope they can change because so many people now across the state agree that the system we have isn't working for people. The costs of things keep going up, wages stay the same, and so life is getting harder for people. And the reason is that our government is working for Wall Street and big corporations instead of working for the people. And they do that because politicians take money from big corporations from Wall Street to fund their campaigns, and then they turn around and serve the interests of those of corporations in Wall Street rather than working for the people. Governor Raimondo is a part of this system and has taken it to an extreme. And this needs to change in Rhode Island, and it needs to change now. So, we're going to go through a few of the points here that you've got in the documents. But Governor Raimondo has approved more than $150 million in corporate handouts to companies whose executives have given her more than $400,000 in campaign contributions. So that is taxpayers' money taken from the people of this state, some of whom can barely rub two dimes together, and given to hand-picked large corporations that are also donors to Governor Raimondo. In fact, every single one of the companies that received the so-called TIF tax breaks, every single one, the executives gave campaign contributions to Governor Raimondo. She's received more than $150,000 in campaign contributions from firms that represent Invenergy, along with the maximum contribution from the executive of Invenergy. And then she turned around and said to Rhode Island and Rhode Islanders that we are going to do, quote, everything we can to make sure that Invenergy is successful in building a fracked gas burning and diesel oil burning plant in this state. That plant would be bad for the community in Burrillville, bad for everyone in the state. It would harm our environment, it would be bad for our children, and bad for the future. The only ones it would be good for are the Invenergy Corporation that would make a bundle off of Rhode Islanders, and Governor Raimondo, who gets campaign contributions from the Invenergy executives and the firms that represent them. Governor Raimondo has been backed by a number of Citizens United organizations, outside groups that under Citizens United spend lots and lots of money in the state, outside money trying to influence this election. One of those independent expenditure efforts was backed by Stacey Schuler, the head of a big oil company, who has given hundreds of thousands of dollars to Governor Raimondo over the years. Now, in Rhode Island law, if a candidate has had a conversation about his or her campaign during the election cycle, which in this case means starting January 1st of 2015 through today, with a person who invests in one of these Citizens United independent expenditures, that is a violation of state law. That is coordination and a violation of state law. And I believe candidates should bear a burden for demonstrating to the public that they in fact have not coordinated with any independent expenditure Citizens United effort. So we need to change this. We need to end the corruption of money in our democracy. If we want to solve any of the problems that Rhode Islanders are facing, from the cost of health care to the quality of education, we need to get the corrupting influence of money out of our politics. And part of that is that candidates like me need to take a pledge, as I have, to not take corporate PAC money, corporate lobbyist money, or fossil fuel money, and I have done that. But we can't count on candidates voluntarily walking away from that money. We need to put it into law. So I'm proposing here today what I think may well be the toughest anti-corruption law in the country. And certainly Rhode Islanders, of all people, have had enough. Sorry, windy day. 1 second. All right. Try to hold on to that. Certainly Rhode Islanders, of all people, have had enough of corruption in our government. So we need to end it. So we put out a comprehensive plan to get the money and the influence of corporate money and that corruption out of our system. It includes that we will ban campaign contributions from senior executives, board members, or lobbyists representing companies that have interest before the state, whether that's a state contract, a regulatory matter, or a tax incentive. We will ban contributions from individuals who are registered to lobby in Rhode Island during the past 2 years. No campaign contributions whatsoever from lobbyists. We need to end that in Rhode Island. And when it comes to these independent expenditures, we have been stuck with Citizens United from a right-wing system in Washington. But here in Rhode Island, we need to do everything we can to make sure that at least the laws regarding these Citizens United expenditures are followed. So as I said, the law in Rhode Island says that there can be no communication between a candidate and a Citizens United independent expenditure outside group. If there is any communication at any point during the campaign, that is a violation of the law. That is illegal. So I am calling for a law that requires any candidate who is the beneficiary of a Citizens United independent expenditure within 3 days of becoming aware of that expenditure to sign a sworn oath, an affidavit, attesting to the fact that he or she has not had any communication with that person making that independent expenditure. And we'll also do a number of things to shine the light, get transparency on all of these activities, strengthen the Board of Elections in their efforts to enforce these new laws, and make sure that once and for all we end the corruption of money in politics in our state.